Are we offline again?
Yeah, my thing decided to be evil. Alright, we're back! Sorry, technical difficulties, and yeah. So, new dailies. I've done the new dailies. They're actually a lot of fun, to be completely honest. We're back, by the way.
Yeah.
We're back?
Yeah.
Dailies are dailies, and I'm sure... Well, I'm not sure I'll ever consider any of them fun, but they're different dailies, which is, you know, good.
Yeah, I like the treasure room. I think that's a lot of fun.
The treasure room's gotta be my favorite thing.
I love doing the treasure room. I feel like I'm cheating when I do it on a priest, because I just put up levitate and just run around and open all the boxes.
Well, you can actually, buy an item with, an elder charm.
But I don't have to buy it. But I don't have to waste an elder charm on that. I don't have to buy it.
Yeah, but, so do you guys quest in your healer specs, or do you guys, like, go DPS, or do you drag other people along, and...
On my priest, I do them as disc, but I do them with other people. Earlier, a bunch of us did them together.
Yeah, I kind of felt left out, because you guys are always doing horde things.
That just means you need to transfer a character.
But I don't want to... I can't transfer my healer, and I don't want to transfer my alchemist.
Then level 1.
I may. I might. Yeah, I do them with a disc priest on my shaman. I just switch to Ellie and... BAM! AoE everything down while he keeps me alive, and that's pretty much how my dailies go.
Yeah, I need to start doing them on my druid, except her off-spec is feral with really crappy PvP gear, so I can't really go as feral. So I need someone that can go with me.
How are you, Riot?
Moran entered channel.
And Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the show, guys.
What's up, guys? You're talking about dailies.
Yeah, so how do you guys
Dailies
do
are
your
awesome. With a group, so I don't actually have to do anything.
Bubble
Especially
AFK.
since we get lost.
Bubble AFK.
No. Well, it's not my fault. They said they felt bad for me having to smite everything to death, so I'm like, okay. So they kill things, and I randomly run around pulling half of the zone and make them kill it.
I think that works pretty well.
It works very well for me.
There's like a stuff will die a lot quicker if there's that many people doing it at once. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the couple of times we've had more than just me and this priest that I quest with, we seem to be able to pull, like, for the Kill the Mogu in the Bone Court, we seem to be able to pull that entire thing. Like, that entire quest and kill him real fast.
Yeah, I hate dailies. I can't do them on myself. I just get bored and I keep tabbing out like I did earlier and then died 3 times every time I tabbed back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the new LFR. Joe, you had an interesting experience today, didn't you?
I had lots of interesting experiences today. Which one are you referring to? Let's see. I tried it 3 times. The first time, everyone refused to get into the puddle on the first boss. And by the time he electrified it, the boss was only down to 85%, which would have put him at about 40% when the room was completely electrified. So I said, never mind, and I left. And then the next one, they were better. They got in the puddle. Unfortunately, they never got out of it. So when thunderstorm came, the predictable happened, and I decided again, never mind, and left. And then the one I just did actually finally managed to kill something, but we did wipe once on council because apparently it's hard to take off 25% of a health before it gets to 100 energy, even though that's like a minute or something. But the second time they finally did it, and we won, and of course I got double gold, because if I actually ever got loot, I may die of a heart attack. And that's my LFR adventures of the day. Well, I did do one with Frozen too, and he kind of had to solo heal the whole thing because the rest of us suck. And then he left, and I left, and yeah. So LFR on Friday is not good.
Back to being
No.
a bad day.
Yeah, I did it Tuesday on my main priest, and it was like bam, 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 done in like 30 minutes. It's like, hey, people actually got good. No, they didn't.
Yeah,
Just all the raiders.
your Tuesday LFR was good. Mine, not really.
Oh yeah, that's right. I started like 15 minutes after you, and was done like 15 minutes before you.
Serious, I don't know how many times we wiped on Hard On once, and we wiped on Council twice. All because people wouldn't kill the ads. Like, we had maybe 4 minutes into the fight, we finally had the first Dinomancer die in our first Horadon try.
Awesome.
And that's the only way you get him to you can shut the gate. Is get him to drop the orb. And then the few times that he did drop the orb, I'm sitting there in chat because I happen to get instance leader for some reason. And I'm actually putting as a raid warning, pick up the orb, pick up. So finally, the second try, I had to grab every single orb because nobody would pick it up.
Must DPS boss.
And then Council was the same issue. We had people fighting ones that weren't even possessed, and...
Well, you can fight Soul. We did burn Soul down because that friggin' sandstorm is annoying, but yeah, the rest of them.
What we ended up doing, because one of our tanks apparently had already downed it on regular, was we had like people who were are able to dot and everything be on Zool, but everybody else pretty much be on whoever was possessed.
Well, yeah, that's what you should do. We ended up the second time when we finally were successful. We had me and a few melee on Soul the whole time, and then everybody else went to use the instance leader's description, the one that looks like a shadow priest. Kill.
Well, we have a question in the Twitch chat. I want to level up a healer from level 1 to 90 and just focus on one spec. I want to be more than just a tank healer, but still be mobile. Any thoughts which class is bet? I'm alliance of races matter with racials, so druid, shaman, monk, etc., etc.
Druids have the best mobility, so if that's the deciding factor, druid.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. If you're trying to go with whoever has the highest mobility, I would definitely say druid. But if you want somebody who's very versatile, she's kind of biased. But no, I would actually say Disc Priest is kind of versatile, but I'd have to say the two most versatile healers would be Monk and Shaman. Like,
well, yeah, Shaman is good tank and raid when they're allowed to be.
I would not really classify Monk as that versatile just because their tank healing requires so much mana.
That's true.
Druids, I would absolutely agree with. They're definitely the most mobile, and with regrowth being 100% or close to it, depending on whether or not you glyph it, crit chance, you can kind of tank heal. It's mana expensive, but it's not like a monk. And they're in a relatively good spot right now as far as 10-mans go. I'm not sure how well they've scaled into 25, but definitely in 10-mans, they're in a really good spot now.
You guys hear me all right?
hey, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Yep, Heather, right.
I'd have to say, from most of the shamans I've talked to, and from my personal experience, we also, not only are we extremely versatile that we can switch from raid healing to tank healing if we have to, but because of our mana tide, it's normally very helpful if you're stacking spirit so that you're getting the most and other healers are getting the most out of your mana tide. So between that and your water orbs, you're also going to be regenning a lot of mana very, very quick, which helps in tank heavy, or when tanks are getting hit harder.
Leveling up, yeah, shamans are pretty good, but once you get into raiding the current tier,
Yeah, the only problem with Shaman is that they're really tied to Healing Rain right now, and this tier isn't that friendly for that. But
I'm sticking with my Shaman, though.
Well, you should. You have mana tag.
Have you healed on anything before WoW Prophets? This game or other games?
Who?
About
WoW
the guy that
Prophets.
asked in chat.
Oh.
While we wait for his answer. So, oh, there he is. He healed on most classes, but pre-mists, apparently. Because I think mists...
Which one would you say matches your healing style the best? That would be my recommendation. Play that one.
Oh, I assume him asking about mobility was indicative of what type of healer he would want. But I could be wrong.
His main was a Disc Priest and Wrath, because you could spam stuff. What do you think, Joe? Do you still spam things?
I spam all the things.
I was just thinking that.
She solo healed Spirit Kings. That was impressive.
I mean, part of Stone Guard when Milk kind of got dead there too. But yeah, Spirit Kings was what, the first Annihilate?
Yeah, it was like 95% of the fight.
Yeah, it was kind of fun actually. I have to admit.
So anybody's saying that Disc Priests are unplayable, just think about this. Disc Priest solo healed Spirit Kings.
Well, in all fairness, Spirit Kings isn't overly challenging and with a 10% nerf. But that said, they're not unplayable. They're still, the numbers have come down, but the numbers were supposed to come down. That was the whole point behind the nerf. But I'm actually quite enjoying it.
Yeah, I would say definitely Resto Druids are the most mobile WoW Prophets, but you really don't have to worry. I mean, I have never had to worry about mana until I've hit maybe midway through Lich King dungeons. And even then, I wasn't hurting, especially as I've been leveling my monk. We can't hear you now, Riot.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, your mic came on. We're just like staring at it like, are you gonna say something?
Well, I don't like interrupting people, so the delay is causing me some issues.
I don't care. But yeah, so any other questions, feel free to ask in the chat. We are monitoring it. But until then, shall we talk about add-ons?
Sure. What add-ons do we want to talk about?
Well, Winnie should email me a picture or a screenshot of her thing.
You're gonna scare everybody.
I just think it looks cool.
How?
Okay. Well, I can just post a link in either IRC or here.
You can post it in there. I just think that her UI currently is my favorite looking UI.
But it's so pink.
Yeah, it's a little too much pink for me.
Nothing wrong with pink.
Any pink is too much pink. There could be a pink dot. Paladins are too much pink.
I'm gonna buy a house, paint it pink, and invite you over.
Pink.
There is such thing as too much pink. Pink is an abomination. I'm sorry, Winnie, I love you, but it is.
See, my Skada and my DBM are pink. It's like a dark pink.
Is it dark pink close to purple? Because that's acceptable.
It's more pink than purple.
Meh.
Uh-oh, you got mad.
So you haven't
See
seen
it right now.
Vero's guide video on the first boss, where she talks about her lovely tanks, one of which was me. But
No, I didn't. Did she say good things or bad things?
And you were talking about tanks not moving the boss. We didn't move the boss either, but it died.
Yeah,
But I do it
it's funny.
different now. But
Yeah.
it was good to have that that name now. I'm a lovely tank.
I was lying when I said that.
Yeah,
Right.
don't let.
Trying to make you feel better.
She was whispering me the entire time about just how bad you were doing.
You can hear you in the background and some of the guide. Like I had to lower your volume because like randomly you would hear you like yelling.
Chris, I will tell you, he did do better than Tony does, so. Which, yeah.
I'm not even gonna talk about that because
Your the picture link to my UI is in both IRC and the podcast chat thing.
So, back to add-ons, because we kind of got sidetracked there. Personally, I think any add-on that allows you to minimize what's on your screen and maximize what you're actually seeing is the best. Like, I use Bartender and Voodoo, and I have Recount and all that, but the way I have it set up is it's all at the very bottom of my screen. I can't really go and get a screenshot of it right now. But I have everything that I need at the bottom of my screen, except for like my health bar and all that. And it allows me to have pretty much the rest of my screen, other than where I have the my DBM and boss bar set up, to just be free to allow me to see fires, see other people, to make sure nobody's doing anything wrong, to call out stone guards when the person who's supposed to know how to do it doesn't. I think and Frozen and Winnie link their UIs.
Yeah, something I do like about the overabundant, redundant UI displays in mine. There's so much information going on, and I try and pare it down to what's really relevant. But when we do go to look at a video of, like, say, our wipes or our kills, people like our Death Knight are like, "Oh my god, my bone shield uptime is trash. Why didn't you tell me?" And I'm like, "I did better. I showed you."
Well, not only that, but personally, I kind of think tanks need to be able to monitor their own mitigation uptime, because as a healer, you're monitoring almost everything else. You have to not only watch and make sure you're not in fire, but you have to make sure DPS aren't in fire, and you have to make sure, you know, this is getting done and that's getting done, and you have to watch your mana and blah, 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 and then you have to tack on a tank, you know, watching their mitigation as well. Unless they specifically ask you to tell them when they need that you need them to use mitigation, I really think they need to be watching damage patterns themselves.
Everyone should be.
Yeah, that's a nice theory, but, you know, sometimes I'm scratching my head going, "Oh, why is someone getting rocked?" So when I go to a random 5-man heroic, I know who's been bad or good. I know who's using Holy Shield. I know who's using Bone Shield. I know who's got Vampiric Blood up. I know these things. I don't even have to look and go, "Oh, big bubble. Hey, nobody asked you, Mr. Winnie."
I take it Mr. Winnie's there in the background?
Yes, he is.
Does Mr. Winnie play WoW, or is that just you?
Mr. Winnie currently has his script up, so I could get my main tunes to level 90.
Yeah, he's leveling a couple of tunes to 90. He may or may not stay. He definitely does not raid like I do, but that's good, because if he did, then nobody would, you know, feed me while I'm raiding.
Yeah, my household's pretty much a WoW playing household.
Everybody here knows that when I'm raiding, why do I have an alarm set to tell me to go fish? Anyway, when I'm raiding, not to bother me, Unless you have cake.
Cake's always worth a bother.
Well, it's like my roommate and her boyfriend both play WoW, as well, and then I play, and it got to the point where, because I got my roommate into playing, and her boyfriend, she got her boyfriend, but it got to the point where I basically had to talk her into talking her boyfriend into playing, because I would be in the middle of like a Dragon Soul or a Firelands raid, and she'd come in, literally set her laptop in front of my computer to where I can't see, and ask me what to do.
Wow.
That's terrible.
And it's even worse because I'm healing, and it's like all of a sudden I just have this laptop down. I'm like, you're worse than my cats.
Yeah, the cats are the only ones who don't understand the I'm raiding, don't bother me thing. So every pull, like if we wipe, I have to get up and go let the cat in and out. If I'm ninja AFK, everybody's like, ready, check. Oh, when he's not ready, oh, she's letting her cat out again.
I actually was doing, I think it was Heart of Fear, and we were on the first boss, and all of a sudden my cat jumped on my keyboard and dropped almost every single one of my totems, like in rapid succession.
This game looks easy. I can do it.
He was just trying to help.
So all of a sudden, all I see is Healing Stream, Mana Tide, Healing Tide, Spirit Link, Stone Skin, and it just keeps dropping. All of a sudden, we hit a damage phase, and my raid leader's like, "Do you have a Healing Tide?" I went, "Nope, no Healing Tides for us."
It's like my pro cat used it. Sorry.
The cat wanted to try healing, and that's all she could do. So I now make sure my cats are out of the room when I raid or anything like that.
Oh, I went to LFR last night to test out my new UI stuff where I took the screenshot from, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go to the bathroom right now. So I said, Mr. Winnie, just follow the group, press buttons. And I got back and they had just finished a boss, and I was number 2 on healing done, even though Mr. Winnie has no idea where my keybinds are or what my buttons do.
That was fun.
I think he found heal.
That's funny.
Hey, wait, hold on.
Heal
And you were
on
number
everyone.
2?
Whatever works.
Wait, and if you were number 2 and all he was casting was heal, what were the other healers casting?
Nothing, apparently.
No.
Like, I once did an LFR. It was Mogashan Vaults one, and I think it was Fang or something. And it got to the point where I did top healing done, and all I was using was Riptide and Healing Rain. And as I'm watching, like we finish this fight, I'm sit there thinking, I have no idea how no one died. If I'm top and that's all I use that entire fight.
Yeah, LFR's like that sometimes.
Yeah.
By sometimes, I mean most of the time.
Pretty much.
And by most of the time, we mean all the time.
And all the time. Pretty much.
It's bad when I'd rather do a raid with a pug on my realm than with going out in LFR. It's no. LFR's no. So anybody else have a story? Riot, Frozen?
Not really.
Talk about add-ons.
Add-ons, the important ones for me are Grid and Click. Some people use Voodoo, or however you pronounce that add-on's name. Some people use Healbot, which I don't really recommend. I can't speak for Voodoo myself. But
I like Voodoo a little bit better because you can change the size of it and everything. You have a bit more. You have few more options to customize it than you do with what's it called? Healbot.
I can't speak for Killbot, but I do like my grid click setup. Mostly, I think the important thing is to have some sort of raid add-on, and I mean, I guess from what I hear, the default UI, raid UI frames have improved quite a bit. Although I don't think they show buffs and debuffs quite visibly enough for my taste.
No, it's tiny little icons, which I don't care for.
Yeah, the default UI since even Kata is really nice and highly functional depending on your class. Wait, how did I manage to grab that whole thing? Sorry, I'm doing something else. No, it's actually quite functional depending on what class you play, and for non-healers, it's definitely stellar. Although while I was hunting through add-ons today, I saw a bunch of add-ons for UIs that all they did was hide player health frames. And that thought just appalled me. Even if I'm DPSing, I got to know, if the tank's dead, it's something I would like to be aware of.
Well, if you're doing good DPS, you'll find out real quick, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Like, I've had that happen where I've, tried playing a Shadow without my UI stuff off. I'm like, well, I'm just going to do LFR as Shadow. I don't need Voodoo up. I'm going to focus on my DPS and not worry about how the healing's going. Oh my god. Like, 2 or 3 times a pull, I'd be like, wait, why am I tanking? What's going on there?
So I just linked the image in the Twitch chat of why you don't use helium. So people just want to look at that real fast and see why.
Did you post
That's
the
all
real
scary.
thing? That thing.
Is that
that
Nair's
one.
screenshot?
Huh?
Is that Nair's screenshot?
No, it's a different. Well, it may have been taken from hers. I don't know, but it looks basically the same.
Yeah.
Look like Addon puking.
Pretty much.
That's a little scary.
I don't see how anyone... I don't even know. How could you raid with that?
I would go blind because not even trying to look around and look for somebody that was hurt, and then try to remember what my icon of the spell I wanted to use looked like. My brain would seriously, I would just die.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I used to use helium when I did 5-mans, but then I got more than 3 healing spells, and I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna happen.
You guys always talk about how my UI makes you want to vomit because there's so much stuff going on and it's all pink.
This is worse.
Helium
Yeah, that's worse.
is just the nastiest looking... I mean, I suppose we all, vet applications to our guild, and you all ask for a screenshot, and if somebody had helium, I would just flat turn them down. I don't give a damn if you are ranked number 1 in everything, world first, the best. I'm like, no, that's terrible. I cannot endorse or support this in any way. That add-on sucks. And if this gets back to the author of helium, I understand it helps some people a lot. Those people are either disabled, which is understandable, or they're just bad, which is not understandable at all, and they just suck.
I mean, I can understand sometimes using helium. You can use it. I can understand using it in 5-mans because it can be useful in 5-mans. But once you get more than a certain amount of healing spells or get more than a certain amount of people, it just starts taking up your entire screen and you can't see anything. And we're not trying to say that, the guy who wrote helium, because writing a program like that, I think that's more than a lot of us can do.
Yeah, I'm not saying like was mentioned, if somebody has a disability that makes them have to do it with one hand, I'm glad the add-on exists. But for people that are just using it, no.
Yeah, if you were able to use more than one hand, I highly recommend looking at other things. I also recommend going through with a if you're going to use an add-on, using it more than just as soon as you hit 90 and then turning it on. Because then you're able to see what spells I mean, not only are you seeing what spells you use most, but you're able to get the key bindings and memorize the keys to remember what you're supposed to do. Or what combination does what. Like, I can sit here and recite from memory what key combination does what for my shaman's voodoo.
Another thing, speaking of keybinds, something I find extremely helpful if you play multiple healing classes is associate spells from each class together, so you can put them on the same keybinds, and that way if you screw up and forget which character you're on, not that I would ever do that, you still hit the right keybinds.
No, you would never
do that. Priest or a priest, right?
I have... Shaming. I'm not even talking about that. I have 2 level 90 shamans, a 90 monk, a 90... I have every healing class at 90. I just have 2 shamans and 3 priests, along with the rest of them.
Speaking of forgetting what class you're on, I got on my hunter earlier. Didn't remember I was on my hunter. Went to do a dungeon with some guild members of mine. Thought I was healing, and I'm literally staring at my UI like, where the hell is my earth shield? Why isn't voodoo up? What the hell's going on? And I'm standing there, and one of the guildies in Mumble with me sits there, is like, why aren't you DPSing? I'm like, because I'm the healer. And then there's just silence until it dawned on me the fact that I'm not on my healer, I'm on my hunter, and I has no healing spells.
See, it's a hunter.
I hate that.
It's a hunter thing, except mine was reversed. I thought I was a hunter.
You were your priest.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say you logged on your hunter and you thought you were the tank.
No,
I see a lot with that disease.
I was on my priest healing Altraxian, and for reasons that I won't mention in public channels, thought I was on my hunter for about 3/4 of the fight. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't even have Growl on my pet bars, whichever pet that that I'll actually use in dungeons. My dungeon pets don't even have it on their bars. It's my hanking pets that I don't even bring out in dungeons that do. That's one thing, Hunter. If you're going to play a Hunter, you got to start realizing you got to turn that taunt off.
Yes.
Warlocks, too.
Yeah, definitely. Any pet class. And I recommend, I do recommend, if you're a Death Knight, if you're not a tank, if you're not a tank and you're a Death Knight, I recommend glyphing Army of the Dead so they don't taunt. I have seen a bunch of tanks get that upset. Oh yeah, we got an email. Do you want to read it, Vero?
I need a minute. Dogs are freaking out.
So, minute of filler.
Alright, let's see if I can do this without them barking. They're trying to jump in the chair and sit with me, but they don't realize that they're like 100 pounds, and that's not going to happen.
We can hear him whining.
I think they want food, too.
I would try and get TARDIS to say something to everybody for the podcast so he can be internet famous like me, but he's too cool to talk right now.
Yeah, well, Wave Milano says tanks whine about everything nowadays. Now, Riot's a tank, and I don't think he whines about everything. Just 99% of everything.
I don't whine. I speak forcefully.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. Alright, so are you ready for the question from email?
I really need to get a soundboard so I can do a drum roll.
That would be kind of cool. Alright, so it's specifically geared towards our lovely disc priest. It says, "Hello, oompodcast. I have tanked and DPS'd in WoW, but recently I really want to take a challenge of healing. I have a shadow priest at level 90 and would like to go disc and learn to heal. However, all the guides for this seem to be very confusing to me. Do you have any suggested guides, videos, or general strats for someone that is looking to break into the world of healing that has never healed before? Thanks. Evil Robot GM and main tank of the Guild Obsessed, Turlon, US Hordside."
Hi.
Find a mentor that streams. That would be my advice.
Or I think you could...
It's so much better to watch somebody, especially if you can speak with them, than to read somebody's text, because it'll end up looking like the guides that this person might be struggling with in the first place. But being able to basically watch the action, especially if you've been in the fights as a tank, so you already know the fight. Just sit there and armchair quarterback whoever you're watching and ask questions. That would be my advice. That would be the best way if you can pull it off.
That actually sounds like probably the best idea, because if I were to try to start saying what to do, it'd pretty much just sound like a guide anyway. I haven't really looked at guides for disc either, so I can't comment on how good any of them are.
I couldn't tell you. I haven't looked at them either. I kind of just do things.
Now, if you're not able to find a mentor who streams, if you can also find somebody, even if it's just with a battle tag, and run dungeons with them, it might be a little bit easier to learn over reading guides. Guides can help to a certain extent, but after a while, it's better to see somebody like in action over anything else.
I think it might also be important to mention that it's really going to depend on what level of healing you're going to attempt. Like, if you're just going to do 5-man, you can pretty much get away with smite spamming the entire time. And the same really sort of holds true for LFR as well. As far as raiding more seriously goes, you might need to cast a few other spells, or even primarily cast other spells depending on your raid's needs. It's really something that you get a feel for over time, but I mean, definitely asking direct questions as opposed to like more general ones is going to help you out more in the long run.
Wow, I had a bit of a cough there, but yeah, I definitely agree. Healing in 5-mans is different than healing in Battlegrounds, is different than healing in 10-mans, yada yada, so and so on. Etc., etc.
Yeah, Battlegrounds is a really good place to practice your stuff, because you're not on the hook, as it were, and you can make changes to your UI. I mean, the first time I healed a raid, I thought that I was all set and all ready, and it was 25-man raid, and I didn't do a whole lot of super customizing with my add-ons, and I ran Forte Exorcist at the time, and as soon as they engaged the boss, Forte Exorcist puked all over my screen, and I couldn't see anything. And I'm like, oh my god, this is bad. So you can avoid that by queuing into a battleground, and it'll also help you learn how to use more of your toolkit, even all of it, as opposed to just leaning on 2 or 3 spells. So it'll make you versatile, it'll make you better. Your situational awareness, I think a lot of people who haven't healed before will be very surprised how different a fight can be that you thought you knew from the DPS or the tank perspective. It's almost like learning the fight again. Almost.
Yeah. And this is probably also one of the reasons why I am a very staunch believer in not leveling a tune from 1 to 90 as a DPS or a tank, and then switching to heals. I really...
I think that's a bad idea too. When I do my healers, if it's one I haven't made before, I do a lot of leveling through dungeons, since that's where you're gonna learn how to do it. You don't have to do it all the time, but I do do it pretty much anytime I get a new spell I'm unfamiliar with, just to get some practice and try to see firsthand
Or a new talent.
where it may be useful, what type of situation I would use it in.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
I mean, it's a little bit different. If, say, you already have a Holy Pally at 90 and you want to level another one as Prot and then switch into Holy, because you already know what a Holy Paladin can do and what it does. But if it's your first healing tune of that class, I really recommend doing as many dungeons as you can, especially like Joe said, as you get new spells and new talents and all that. Then again, that's just us.
At the same time, you'll have to sort of take what you learn leveling in dungeons with a grain of salt, because a lot of the spells that are your best spells in dungeons are not things that you can necessarily rely on later. Like at level 15, if you one tick of rejuvenation as a druid is going to heal someone for almost their whole health bar.
I agree with that, but it's mainly for me, it's muscle memory for the keybinds.
Key bindings and what each spell does. Tooltips can only get you so far. Same thing with guides. Did we hit everything there, Vera?
I would say so.
Yay! Ready for this? We have sound effects, because I've been bored. So any other questions from the chat room? How's everybody been? What's everybody doing?
Well, right now, as usual, I'm working on more stuff for my UI. Currently, I am playing with Stuff, which is a unit frame mod, so that I can just get more continuity and get all the nice color matching and texture matching that I like, so pretty much everything can be pink. The other thing that I've been working on lately that you've all heard me talk about in IRC is working with something called Sun Viewport, because it really bothers me to have my frames and all the clutter that comes with either the default interface or my custom interface, because I have lots of clutter on the 3D rendered game environment. So I kind of make a nicely wallpapered junk drawer to put all of my bars and notifications in. So I'm like, this is game stuff, this is UI stuff.
Cool.
Sounds like fun.
It is lots of fun, but, there are big holes in my knowledge base. So when I have to do something like code an add-on, I'm like, I haven't coded anything since Quick Basic, so you want me to use an LUA editor? Okay, what's that? What do I do? And then, so I have to go and backtrack a whole bunch, but I did actually get it mostly working. I can do it custom theme for Sun Viewport and probably KG panels. That's step 2 of the process. That's what I'm going to be doing next for custom aura making. But it was kind of a pain in the butt. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 7 in annoyance. It was more difficult than making custom sound notifications, which is another thing I'm a big fan of, which is why when people watch my YouTube videos, they're like, what the... Winter? Hang on.
So while she goes to find out what that bang was,
So what are other add-ons that you guys use that are like, as soon as you make another healer or whatever, it's the first thing that you set up?
Crack cooldown.
What's that?
It's
Omni CC.
Omni CC. I do use that too.
Yeah, like Omni.
Crack cooldown is a cooldown tracker that basically it tracks two different things. For DPS, like my hunter, or if I'm in elemental, it tracks the length of time of the cooldown, or the dot is on the target. On the actual button itself, it's like highlighted in green, gives me a number, so it's like I don't have to mouse over or watch that or anything. I can just read it. And when it comes to HOTS and all that, it also gives you a larger number that you can track how long a spell has until it comes off cooldown.
Nice, I've never heard of that before. I think mine that I love the most would probably be weak auras.
Yeah, I was about to say that a lot of people I know use Omni CC for Exorcist, which there's such a thing as too much customizability, even for me. Another one is Aura, and then there's one called Telepathy. I think I prefer to do most of this stuff through weak auras. If I can do it in weak auras, I will do it in weak auras, just because I already have 11 key add-ons, so I shouldn't get any more.
11,000?
Yes.
That's over 9,000.
Update day is very bad for winning, in other words.
Yes, it is. Now, I'm not crippled without most of them, but Voodoo is... I have like a big folder where I wrote all of my mouse over macros that I have to use whenever I go do beta stuff. But I'm just crippled without Voodoo and weak auras. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I can't function. I am just sad.
Okay, so we do have another question in chat. First off, they're new to the podcast, so hello, welcome to the show. You can catch all of our other shows on our YouTube channel. So she wants to know about AoE healing hitting pets. Do people get frustrated watching like Wild Growth get sucked up by Army or anything like that?
I'm sure everybody gets annoyed with that.
It's so annoying.
That's another reason I want to keep prayer healing, because it doesn't diminish if it hits pets.
That's one of the things I hate about pets and chain heal is all of a sudden it just goes off to the side and is absorbed by some pet and is completely useless against the player that needed it.
I don't know if there's anything they can really do about it.
Make pets not count?
They can do what they did with Prayer of Healing, where basically the pet doesn't count as a target, but if it heals the pet owner, it will also heal the pet for the same amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why they don't do that.
That would be nice, but this was... I get upset about it too. It's not as bad as the Ghost Iron Draklings and getting the immunes.
Those were annoying. I wanted to get something.
I really think that they need to do something when it comes to pets and Army of the Dead and ghouls and whatnot.
I love seeing, doing Shaw attempts, or not attempts, but the Shaw World boss, and seeing some healers who have their number one healing done to Army of the Dead minion or whatever.
Yeah. And then the second part of her question was, how do you rate Voodoo?
10. I love it.
I love it too. I'd give it a 10.
I've never used Grid. I started with Healbot, and then I was introduced to Voodoo, and I use it on every character, regardless of role, regardless of class.
I do as well.
And it is, in my opinion, the best. Period. So I rate it very highly.
Since you can put in aggressive spells, you can click well, not click, but, well, kind of click, but you can use the raid frames to DPS the same way you would to heal. So, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I recently swapped to Voodoo after using the default raid frames for many years, and I love it. Although, in the beginning, I was completely frustrated with customizing it, and was about to just throw my computer out the window.
I was
But
as
no, it
well
cooperates.
until Winnie talked me through it.
I kept making Riot send me his, which then would just keep messing up, and then it was just not pretty. But now I use it on all my healers as well as all my DPS tunes.
Yep, it's pretty awesome.
I would also say that weak auras did the same thing to me. Like, I got really frustrated trying to set that up. I can't speak for Healbot, or excuse me, for Voodoo, because I haven't used it, as I mentioned, but I do hear good things about it from everyone I know who uses it, so there's that as well.
Yeah, I started with Healbot as well, and I went to set up Voodoo at least probably a dozen times, and it's very, very customizable. And when I saw how much customization, I'm like, brain overload, can't do it. But then, like I said, when he finally sat down and talked me through it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was actually fairly intuitive when I got over my freak out.
Yeah,
So,
it took like 20, 30 seconds of me just going, okay, take a deep breath, open the panel wizard, and get rid of all of them, and start from scratch.
Yep. I was just like, too much stuff, can't do it. But no, it was actually really easy.
Yeah, I actually use Voodoo now on all of my tunes, instead of having the raid target frames open, whether it's a raid or anything. That's how I watch people's health and everything.
Yep.
The thing about
I really like
the thing about Voodoo is it's very, very helpful if you have somebody to talk to who knows how to do it, because the only real drawback to it, in my opinion, is a lot of the customization options are not where you would expect to find them. You kind of have to seek and find, and if you're trying to do that yourself, that's kind
scary.
of yeah. You start to wonder, where the hell is this? I've heard it does it. I know it does it. Where is it? It's there. It's just very helpful if you know somebody and they can either just send you their profile or step you through it. Also, while I'm talking about it, one of the things that I did with Voodoo is I have a default setup that is the same for every character if the crap hits the fan. So I can load, when I have a new character, I can load that profile to start and then make the changes that I need to make. So I do that with Voodoo, and I do that with LVUI as well, if you happen to run something like that.
That's what I do with my Voodoo and my bartender, and then I can add and take away what I need to depending on what I'm playing.
That's what I do as well.
So has anybody here ever used Mask or Button Facade? Because I'm
I used Button Facade a long time ago.
Yeah, I use Mask.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of custom images and sounds.
Channel frozen soup. Won't be too long. Channel Morin. Okay.
You guys do know they can hear the text to talk.
Oh.
Frozen, that is really creepy. I'm glad you told everybody that you had to go to the bathroom.
And now everybody knows.
No, it's not a Frozen channel. We use Mumble to communicate for podcasts and just to talk and all that for the group. And it has a text-to-talk feature. And I guess they thought they were being sly and that people couldn't hear it. But because I don't know how to disable text-to-talk, it comes through.
That's funny.
I don't know how to, but, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Speaking of Mumble, please tell everybody how awesome and amazing Mumble is and make my guild stop being bad. And Stop
TeamSpeak
it.
is better.
Awesome and amazing, and when he's killed, stop being bad.
TeamSpeak is better.
Na.
Are you paying for it?
I think I still have TeamSpeak installed somewhere as like in little artifact files. I can't get rid of it.
Archives.
I have Vent, I have TeamSpeak, and I have Mumble. So it's like I can use anything that somebody would have.
You're flexible,
I don't have Skype, but it is cool because I'll get into like some kind of Super Pro Guilds alt run or something, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, well we use Mumble. Here's how to install Mumble." And then you gotta wait for everybody to install Mumble, and I'm like, I'm pro. I already got Mumble. Wow, you're amazing. If we didn't have 8 healers on our roster, we would totally steal you.
Mumble is awesome. See, it can get you a healing job. Maybe.
There you go.
Yeah, it's being you. I used to be that diehard Vent person, and I'm sure a lot of people in here could even talk about how I was always against Mumble, blah 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 in the IRC, and then I started raiding with Joe, and I got it, and instantly I was just like, oh, this is better.
It is better, and it doesn't make that ugly noise in my ear that I hate.
Oh god.
I hate the noise.
I raided with somebody
It
that
irritates me.
I raided with somebody that had the noise for Mumble enabled.
I would mute them.
It sounds like it's like a boop, 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 boop,
Oh yeah,
boop,
the
boop.
little bubble sound.
A spaceship.
Sean had that on once, and I'm like, what is that sound?
Put it this way: I pay $2 less for my guild's Mumble, which is a 35 slot Mumble, than I did for a 25 slot Vent. So I have 10 extra slots, and I still pay less money. That was to the question of the person who asked in the live chat. I'm not going to give the actual cost. But yeah, it is a lot cheaper.
What now?
Yeah, even the sound quality of Mumble I think is just better.
Yeah, definitely.
It is, and there isn't with Ventrilo. There's a slight speech delay, which doesn't exist in Mumble.
Well, Mumble.
Yep.
Mumble also as I was doing research, has more servers that you can route through than Vent does.
Yep.
And there is a lot less lag. Like, people in my guild that were having 1 to 2 second lag in Vent have no lag in Mumble.
Yeah, it's very good for that.
I'll also mention that as far as mobile goes, you can set up a server on your computer for free without breaking any laws.
Yeah. But
Sorry, go on.
I'm just going to say, as with any server on your computer has to be up, doesn't it, for it to work?
Yes.
WoW profits, I would hope so. I think they would be really stupid if it didn't.
Yeah, it does. I used to use it on my Mac all the time. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it works on Mac. I can test it on my MacBook later, but like Riot said, they'd be losing a lot of business if it didn't work with Mac.
Yeah, it does.
Mumble also works with more games than I noticed Vent did. There were some games I couldn't use Vent in that Mumble I can, so.
I think usually that's actually an issue with running as admin.
I tried it as admin. There's still 1 or 2 games that I just decided to hate on. Whether that was my computer or what, I don't know, but
Yeah, I remember I had to launch Ventrilo as admin when I was raiding in this game. I found that to be odd. It wasn't always that way, but at some point it became that way. I think it was Windows 7 maybe. Not sure though.
Yeah, I had to do that a lot too. It's like, why is my computer confused about this? I'm not sure.
Plus, Mumble, you have overlays even if they don't work for me. If you can get them to work, they do work.
That was, like, worthy of my raid leader, Honey, who incidentally sounds like John Madden. Like, I was watching Miss stream the other night, and I think somebody said, all we have to do to kill this boss is for us to not die. And I was like, really? Did he just say that?
So, we have a question from Twitter, and it's that question that I'm pretty sure we all detest. In your opinions, what is the best healing class in rating for 5.2?
Death Knight.
Paladin.
Paladin is always good
The Feral
in this kind of
Druid.
healing.
DK.
You
I'm
know,
being serious.
The Blood
I know! Our DK out heals me sometimes, and I'm like, "Arr." When I'm, being bad, or it's trash, or it's... He out healed me on one Horidon attempt, because all I did was lull this spell, pretty much.
I actually think it's the Bandage spec is the best healing for 5.2.
I don't think there's really, like, a specific healer that's all around the best ever.
If you want to go by the numbers, which one is highest, and I think that's the Paladin.
One thing is Paladins also offer an amazing amount of utility right now. I'd also say that Paladins make really good healers just through Battle Insight, but that's another story.
Right, and I do agree with all that, but I'm not a big fan of the flavor of the month things or questions, because I'm going to stick through my healer when we suck and when we don't. So, when my shot.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and the thing that I don't understand about that is, unless you have every healer already at 90 and already geared, why would you go through all of that trouble? I get attached to my tunes, and I only have time to do dailies and gear up and level trade skills on one character, and you see me, I'm online like all day, every day, so I don't know how you would have time to level up every healer to 90 and have them geared well enough to start raiding with them. And if you're starting from scratch, by the time you have reached max level and gotten geared, they're going to be on the buff nerf roller coaster again, and you're going to be terrible. So really just pick a class that you enjoy the flavor of, the lore of, or the style of. Some classes synergize better, but one thing that I can tell people is if you're going to plan on doing PvE raiding with your healer, unless you're a priest or a pally, because pallies always whine about having to have a DPS off-spec. They're the number one whiners about that. No offense, pallies. But get something that you're going to like the DPS off-spec of. Like, I hate meleeing, so Paladin is right out for me. That's the only thing I don't love about playing pallies, is Ret is poopy, and I hate it.
Yeah, I have to say that if you want to play a healer, I do recommend, unless you're going to level completely through dungeons and not do any daily or drag people along with dailies, get something that you like the DPS off-spec of, especially since four of the 6 healers, healing specs, you can use the same gear for one of their DPS off-specs.
3 out of 5. Monks are also melee and use agility.
Holy Disc, Resto Shaman, and Druid. It's 4.
Then that's 4 out of 6.
I meant to say 4 out of 6.
A good choice for that is some people seem to like druids because, some people can play balance. I hate it. start casting Starfire, go make a sandwich, take a nap, watch Ishtar, do your taxes, come back, finish casting. It's terrible.
It is a slow class, I will admit. A slow spec, rather.
I really do like Elemental. I can, especially since if I get lucky and get a lot of mastery procs, I can burst down most mobs on the Isle of Thunder. Between Lava Burst and Elemental Overload, or Unleash, whatever it's called.
Elemental Blast?
Yeah, that one.
Unleash elements.
No, he meant Elemental Blast. It hits like a friggin' freight train.
If Elemental Blast crits, it normally always crits for over 150k.
As another thing back on the question, generally speaking, you'll want to go with the more skilled player as opposed to class mechanics. I mean, there are some cases where that's not true, but generally speaking, you'll want player skill.
Absolutely.
I agree.
We have another question on Twitter as well.
Gosh.
Someone asked, do you guys love Soul of the Forest?
I don't even know what it does.
It's a druid talent.
It's the druid talent. The one that increases, if you're resto, you gain 75% haste when you cast Swiftman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's very potent.
I loved it before they buffed it from 50% to 75%. I still love it. That's all I have to say about it, really.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I took it on my druid on the PTR. I'm pretty sure that's what I have. And I really like the druid a lot, including with that.
My druid's only level 85 currently, but...
I have one at 90 and 2. I'm somewhat in the process of technically 3, but I will eventually level 2 of them.
We need to get you to Autoholics Anonymous, Joe.
Yeah, I know, right?
Healers Anonymous.
Healers Anonymous, yeah.
Hi, I'm Morin, and I'm addicted to healing.
Something like that. It's the only way I don't die, though. I hate dying. I'm very paranoid of dying. Anyway.
It is definitely easier when you heal.
I just,
Yep.
I just read the entire conversation where that question came from, Vero. And
Yeah.
so, where do mushrooms glow? Where they bloom? Outer space.
I felt that was an accurate reply since people don't always stand in them. Or they move out of them.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's the design of stuff is like put lots of ground effects that people will get killed if they stand in, but let's also give healers AoE ground effects that people have to stand in and leave it to people. Do I stand in this thing or do I run away from this thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like when they first introduced Swiftman with that pretty green graphic on the ground, people were running out of it, and I'm like, no, guys, come back, it's good stuff.
We went... Go ahead.
A funny thing about running away from stuff, and in Firelands, the whole thing is about fire, right? Fire is bad. Fire will burn you. Stay away from fire. When I got my 4-piece on my priest, anybody that played priest in Firelands probably knows the proc was fire. So I spent about 2 hours of Ragnaros attempts running away from my own 4-piece.
Oh,
Well,
Bless your heart, Joe.
well, we came off Lich King, where every raid, every dungeon had something that you could not stand in or you would die. And then all of a sudden, druids are given swift mends, and shamans are giving healing rains, and disciplined priests have this power word barrier, and all of these things, and you, even myself, and I'm casting the healing rain, I would not remember that I casted a few seconds into a boss fight and be like, oh shit, I'm standing in something, and run out.
Have you guys noticed that there is a lot of not having puddles? There's in Horadon's room that doesn't count because of that stupid help.
Sandstorm?
That, yes, but there seems to be a lot less of that. The other thing about that whole ground effect healing thing is, it makes me glad I'm a holy priest, so my ground effect healing is expensive and completely useless, and I would never cast it ever.
Except on the attenuation boss, when attenuation goes out, then you should definitely throw it right under the boss.
Yeah.
We pugged a holy priest that did that, and one of our, I'm sure Chris remembers the night, but one of our people that was usually tank was DPS, and that night died many times to it. But yeah, as soon as, and I got hit a couple of times too, because he kept putting down as soon as attenuation came out, which I assume he was trying to be helpful where people would get healed if they accidentally said it, but yay, gold ground effect when I'm trying to avoid gold. This is just super awesome.
I'm pretty sure every Heart of Fear LFR I have ever done on 4 characters, the Holy Priest has done that every time.
Yeah, it's...
And I'm in melee on most of them.
Mm-hmm. It's not a good thing.
Is this the priest that was doing like 12k heals per second?
That would be that priest, yeah.
He was like what?
Pro.
Cascade and...
Cascade was his #1 heal, yes. And everybody was whispering me, how does a spell with a 40-second CD come out as his top heal? What else? What else is he casting and looking at the spell breakdown? Apparently nothing. A Holy Word Sanctuary and Cascade were pretty much it. But yeah, that priest. And when Tony kept dying to attenuation, and I said it wasn't really his fault, you can't see the dang thing.
Yeah, I mean, the priest came in, had a lot of blues and all that, but still, 12k heals per second? I was beating that at 86. I was beating that at 85.
Yeah. I was not happy.
It's one of those alt-tab priests. Good thing I don't know any of those.
Shut up.
Yeah, I still want to name another healer, like alt-tabbed or tabbed out or...
I actually saw
AFK
somebody
forever.
with that name tabbed out or something like that the other day. I think they're
Yeah,
in
I
my
think I've seen
guild.
something like that before too.
I did get that idea from you, Milk. Yeah, but... that's really all I have to say about that priest there, Joe.
When I played EverQuest, they had a thing where if you were idle for too long, or I believe even if you tabbed out, your AFK tag would automatically pop up over your head. It was great. Because you knew who was doing that stuff and you could fix it.
Well, in a lot of like heroic runs that I do nowadays to get Valor capped, I can use Healing Rain and Riptide the entire time and then tab out and nothing happens. It just is that
I'm guilty of that
boring.
too. Not so much on my priest though, because Smite LO. But the other ones, yeah. It gets boring.
So, I just looked at the IRC and Vahalan, or however you can pronounce his name, said, listening to the podcast, 12k HPS at 90, I think I can sneeze and heal for more than that.
Probably.
I think my cat
That's
could...
one heal.
I think my cat could walk across my keyboard and heal for more than that.
I think
Well,
you
yeah,
could walk
but-
across your keyboard for more than that.
Yeah, but your cat drops Healing Tide Totem, so he cheats.
No, he didn't just drop that. He dropped every single totem I have.
All the totems.
So I got maybe 1 tick of Healing Stream, 1 tick of Healing Tide, 1 tick of Mana Tide before...
something else was down.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. Cat could cough up a hairball, then when you step on it, it heals for more than that. That would be quite interesting.
Very.
Yeah, if my cat had magical hairballs, I think I'd be rich.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Kind of gross.
I think I actually have done like 12k HPS on a boss attempt in LFR, but that's because I didn't tell anybody and I just went Shadow because I was that bored.
Nice.
I do more H. I've done more.
What's that note?
That's Vera's mic.
It was somehow clicking for some reason. It kept doing it on its own. I wasn't even near the hotkey.
But yeah, I've done more. I've done more than 12k heals per second in Elemental. Yeah. But I think that's it for tonight, guys.
Okay.
Unless there's any more questions, we'll give a couple of minutes for questions while we prepare all the info that you guys should see.
Speak now or forever hold your peace. Or at least until next Friday.
Alright, don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Anything?
Doesn't look like it. Facebook. How do you like the monk
I
healing
missed like
mechanics?
the first 10 minutes. Did we talk about like maybe things that healers should be aware of going into the LFR?
Yes,
or even normal modes on the new content?
Yes, we did.
Like things to watch for, things like that?
Not particularly, I don't think.
We talked about what to watch for in LFR. We touched base on it. None of us really...
Stay away from the bridge boss, Mon.
Yeah.
Make sure people kill ads. Don't stand in front or behind Haragon.
Stand in the puddle, get out of the puddle.
Stand in the puddle, get out of the puddle. Do any of you play...
Don't stand in sand.
Any of you play a monk? Because we have a monk question.
If your tanks aren't doing anything, there's a good chance that they're talking to each other in tells. I mean, just be patient and wait.
You are never going to give that up, are you?
Well, I don't assume that the other tank knows the fight. I ask. So, yeah, if you're in there with me, I am talking to the other tank if I don't have him in TeamSpeak.
Well, do any of you guys play it?
That's not a bad idea.
Do any of you guys play a monk? Because we have a question of how do you like monk healing mechanics and Throne of Thunder?
I don't think any of us raids with a monk.
I have a monk co-healer. He hates it, but that's 10 men.
We'll have to see if we can get Mist in here next week. And
Is Razorpaw, and he is awesome and owns both the priests he raids with every time, all day, every day. He's got a little bit better gear than us, but I don't know what he's doing. He's just very, very talented, I guess.
I haven't run mine in the new one yet, but I have run it in Terrace a few times just so I could do a direct comparison. And aside from the fact that my playstyle was completely wrecked, I'm not feeling the mist weaving. I'm really not. But the fist weaving seems to do fairly well.
yeah. But thanks for coming, guys. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, email us any screenshots that you want to be seen, anything like that. Because I think next week we might start showing screenshots. So have a little bit of fun with that. We'll show. Here's a sneak peek of the